The 2011 MLS season was a huge disappointment for Whitecaps fans everywhere. The core players were there, but the supporting cast was not, and the season was a failure. So with a new coach, many new supporting cast players, a few new stars, and more strikers than you can shake a stick at, could the 2012 season improve upon things? The season started with a 2-0 win over Canadian rivals and MLS newcomers the Montreal Impact. It was a solid performance showing a solid back four and some decent attacking. This was followed by the first road win in MLS. Not the first one in franchise history, Craig McEwen. The jerseys say since 1974 on the back. Believe it or not, we have managed to win some road games in that time. Anyway, the win came against Minno's Chivas USA, and was only a 1-0 win. The team didn't score many goals, but the forwards were talented, and the goals would come. And then over the next couple of games, it became abundantly clear that the goals were not going to come. This was due to a combination of things. First and foremost, the team's inability to create chances. There are long stretches, sometimes spanning 3 games, where the team wouldn't even manage a shot on goal. They also put very few crosses into the box. Also at fault, in my opinion, was the 4-2-3-1 formation the team used, or alternatively the 4-3-3. Neither formation used wingers well, and both only had one main striker. With the 4-2-3-1, usually Camilo or Sebastian Letou usually used either Camilo or Sebastian Letou as wingers. Neither player was suited to this position, and it showed as neither achieved the excellence that they had in previous seasons. The 4-3-3 decided to just throw away any idea of using wingers of any kind, and usually played 3 holding midfielders in one lineup. And due to the lack of chances, Eric Halsey was also unable to achieve what he had in the previous year. But despite all that, the defense was excellent, and as was the goalkeeping of Joe Cannon. The team managed to get wins, and was well inside the playoff. When Barry Robson arrived, it looked as though our problems with creating chances would be solved too. However, although things improved a little bit with the arrival of Robson, there were still major problems. So when the transfer window opened up, Martin Rennie took action, and he sold Davide Cumiento. You were having trouble with creativity in the midfield, so you sold your best creative midfield player? Well, okay then, what's next? They traded Sebastian Letou for Dane Richards. This was a very good trade for the team. Steva was a good player, but he did not work well in Martin Rennie's system. Dane Richards, on the other hand, was a quick winger who would be able to get crosses in the box, and played very well in his time with the team. He was a start to improving the midfield, but still more was needed. So when rumors that the Whitecaps were about to make a big signing emerged, we all got excited. And the signing turned out to be Kenny Miller. So, wait, you just traded Sebastian Letou because he didn't fit into your team, so you went and got a slightly better, more expensive version of Sebastian Letou. Well, okay then. Well, what's next? What? No, it is not possible. Why on earth would you do that? Why would you trade the face of your franchise to one of your greatest rivals? Not the greatest, the team is older than 2 years, I will remind you, and not even get a roster player in return. For those of you unfamiliar with this situation, this would be like if Manchester United gave Paul Scholes to Chelsea for £10. It's that bad. If Halsey couldn't score because he didn't get any chances, why would you think that Miller could? Both strikers require good serves to score, so why make the switch to the less likable and more expensive one? Honestly, though, I think the criticism of Halsey and Miller were both unfair. The lack of goals was not their fault. It was the fault of the team and the coach, who were unable to give them better service and create chances for them. Other signings during the transfer window included centre-back Andy O'Brien, who, although good, was inferior to Martin Bonjour and should not have been moved into the starting 11 full-time, but was anyway, and Thiago Ulysses, who never played, so we can't really judge. Following these changes, the team had 3 very good performances, well actually 4 because they played one team twice, but they had a few very good showings against LA, San Jose, and Real Salt Lake. It looked as though the team was finally hitting its stride. They were competing against the best teams in the league, and they were creating chances. Finally. Then it all went downhill with a 5-game losing streak. All the old problems returned, and on top of it, they were starting to let in goals too. Barry Robson was unable to replicate his excellent form from the previous games, and his constant arm-waving and shouting at other players frustrated fans. Kenny Miller was isolated up front, and the only real offense came from the speed of Richards and Maddox. The only real positive was the emergence of Brad Knighton as the first-choice keeper. In the midst of the slump came the news that Dane Richards would be leaving for Burnley at the end of the year. Despite the horrible run of form, the team was able to make the playoffs. They drew against the LA Galaxy and lost 2-1. The team put forth a good performance under the circumstances. All in all, this was a mediocre season. In order for the next one to be a success, the team will have to bring in some skilled midfielders to help create more chances. They also need to bring in more depth and do a better job of using their young players. That is what it will take to be a competitive team.